Okay, we are at the Hydron Core. Well, how am I supposed to talk to Seraph or whatever, though? I want to. Was there no side mission? Seriously? I guess I have to go down there anyway. Alright, let's do it. No? Where the hell were they? God damn it. I guess I just had to straight up look for them. Whatever. I know that that's almost certainly going to affect an ending, but I'll play it straight for now. I'm very disappointed in myself though, but I'll do that on another playthrough. Whoa! Man, we're really going in there. 500 meters. And that's now. We started up much higher. It's a very fast descent. Look at this. What's cool is that this isn't a loading screen. Like, this tower is this tall in the game. And we're almost there. Oh, we are so close. Only 250 more meters. $150. 100. And our descent is slowing. We're almost there. Almost there. Come on. Heavy rifle. Ammo. Energy pack, yes please. Plasma rifle. Plasma capsules. Painkillers. Yeah, speaking of painkillers. Boom.
What the hell?
Water pressure nominal at 173 psi.
Who am I?
Communications web online.
I feel cold.
Drones 1 through 3 within operational parameters.
Who or what is this?
Drone 4 disconnected.
Let me go.
Processing.
Oh God, please help me. I'm scared.
Core temperature stable.
Tell me that
Processing.
isn't Megan somehow.
Sal, what are you doing?
Connecting to Panchaya's Hydron project, Mr. Jensen. The most advanced quantum computer slave to the human brain, and the closest to perfection we'll ever achieve. I'm going to use it to hack Zero's signal and rework the message to our benefit.
Our benefit? You mean the Illuminati's?
Is this the Matrix Revolutions? Is this Ghost in the Shell? The answer is
Someone
yes.
has to override the signal and be the world's savior. And let's be honest, neither of us would trust anyone else to fill that role. Computer, begin EEG sync.
Dude, what? Tell me I don't have to fight her somehow.
Syncing beta waves at 40 cycles per second.
This is freaking creepy.
Incompatible master slave chain detected. Alert. Unable to transfer control to Alpha Pod.
The system won't recognize my chip.
That sucks.
Neural systems offline. Rerouting control of the chain.
I can't control Hydron.
Increasing glutamators by 52%.
Is this Helios?
Sal, get them out of there. I have to reach the control chamber.
No! I can still control it. I'm in control!
That
The signal.
Security.
that needed to happen.
Through the primary control panel.
Whoa.
Shit.
Oh my god. This game. Tell me I'm not fighting that. Whoa!
Alpha Pod security in place. To access Alpha Pod, purge tertiary pods.
Are you serious? Alright. You wanna play hardball? I'm game.
I must be the one to alter the signal.
Once I do, the council will welcome me with open arms.
Warning.
No! Protect Mother!
God, this is dark.
Spider-Man is here. Why does he want to kill us? Kill him.
Stop me now.
You have had better served keeping your head down, Johnson.
What just happened?
Mother, just don't hurt anymore. Just no more pain.
This is so dark.
Keep him away from us.
What am I supposed to do?
Security measures are sufficient.
Hold on. Defeat her. You got it. Piss off.
Once the weight of their gaze touches you, there is no escape.
Oh, I think there is for me. Lunatic bitch.
Static pressure rising. Can't breathe. It hurts.
Can't search you?
Systems are. My organic systems under stress will apologize.
God, this is freaking creepy as hell, but what do I do with it?
Do you see where honor and ambition lead you? To a hole miles deep in the ocean, about to
What's up
meet
here?
your end. And powerless.
Aha!
Part 1.
See, look at what they've done. I don't like it here.
Oh, I don't either, but that's okay. It'll all be over soon.
It's so cool down here. Dirt.
Creepy freaking game.
Show us the light, Mother. Where's the light?
Ugh. How do you, ugh.
Access granted.
There, now.
I must fight this. I must succeed.
I can't move. Why can't I move? ACHE levels are critically low.
No.
How much longer will it be, Mother? I want to go home.
Did that work? I might have to
I
kill
have
her.
no choice but to eliminate you. You have ruined everything.
Stop! System failing. Been around for so long. Tired.
Error in system.
Iron is weakening.
There.
Rerouting. Connection.
Dark goddamn game.
Regaining control. I must. Ah!
Reroute.
In fact, will this somehow work? I don't think it will. Yes! What the hell? Hey, 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 hey!
I feel bad.
I don't know where the hell you guys came from.
This is normal. No, this is not normal.
Damn!
I want to be normal.
Warning. Pod 3 safety purge in progress. Stand by. Diagnostic warning. Error in system.
Huh.
Rerouting. Connection.
One more
Reroute
time.
complete.
This game took a disturbing turn. No need to hack anymore. There we go.
Warning. Pod 1 safety purge in progress. Stand by.
Hi. Excuse me for a second, guys. Come on, come on. One more of you little bastards to go. Yeah. Okay, so melee isn't my thing in this game. But it's okay now, isn't it? And now... I don't know who you are, but you scared the hell out of me. And you need to go.
Pod 1 life signs fluctuate. Failure imminent. Warning. Tertiary pods are offline. Primary security measures disabled. Power surge detected. Electrical charge above normal levels and rising. Preparing for discharge sequencing. Warning. Electrical charge subcritical and rising. Electric discharge sequence initialized.
It's happening!
What do I...
No! Wait! It's initiating emergency protocol! You don't know the resources they have at their disposal, Jensen. Despite your special genetics, you have been in over your head the whole time. Initiate dissipation protocol.
What?
There is no way you can defeat the system. There is nothing
I can try.
you can stop. Leave.
Warning. Electrical charge subcritical and rising. Halfway to discharge sequence.
Another robot's coming.
Warning. Primary pod compromised. Secondary security measures activated. Evacuate area.
Evacuate, huh? I'm
You
not done
cannot
yet.
reach it, Jensen. There are too many contingencies built into the system.
I got your contingency right here.
You and I have both failed.
Come on, turn it off. Huh, that would normally be bad for me, wouldn't it? Turn it off. Come on. Whoa. I guess the red just shows me where to avoid, but I don't need to avoid
Primary
anything.
pod station damaged.
No! I will not lose this. It's my right. I have worked too long to stop now.
Ha!
You want the glory. Is that it? Never! It is all mine! I have given everything for this!
Warning. Primary pod station failure. Imminent. Warning. Electrical charge approaching critical levels. Discharge imminent. Clear the area.
Might have missed that one. That's okay. Ha ha ha! That's right, Sao. Let's make this dramatic, Silent Hill 2 style.
I can't take...
Jesus Christ! This game got so dark out of nowhere. Ooh! What do I do now? What's there left to do? Just leave? Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Achievement unlocked. The end. I know if I reload I can get another ending, so I'm not gonna... I'll make a new save. That's what I'll do. Hopefully that Hyron Core previous save is before the elevator.
Hello, Adam.
What?
Welcome to the Edge. It is not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Eliza? What are you doing here?
It is my job to monitor and report on the news, Adam. Before Darrow smothered everything with his signal, the whole world was tuned into this place, including me.
The broadcast. I have to stop it.
I know. Please, come closer. Do you know where we are, Adam? We are at the fulcrum point, when society lies in the balance.
Are you the architect of the
You, Darrow,
Matrix?
hope to tip the scales one way, by telling the world everything you already know. About the biochip, the Illuminati, everything. He believed knowing the truth would convince mankind to abandon research into human enhancement technologies forever.
It would certainly give them reason to fear it.
Indeed. Darrow's confession is ready to send. If you want, I can wideband it across all media as soon as you shut down the signal. Everything you worked so hard to uncover will be exposed. But only if you deactivate the broadcast using this control. Of course, there is another option. This passage leads to Panchaya's pressure regulation controls. Destroy them and the installation will cave in on itself, overwhelmed by the weight of the ocean pressing against it.
Ooh.
Everyone inside the structure will die.
That's a solution?
No one will be left
That's
to
the
tell
Dark
world
Ages
what
solution that
happened,
Tracer
Adam.
Tong would offer.
Nobody will be able to spin the story.
Including me.
The choice is yours. Do you believe you have the wisdom to choose an appropriate future for mankind? Or do you trust mankind to find the answers on its own?
I love how there's literally a choose the ending button. Deus Ex had you complete some small missions to take care of the ending. But this... Send the message. Or leave. I'll do it.
If you do this, the unadulterated truth in Darrow's confession may well convince mankind to cast all science and technology aside, to ensure that future generations grow up free and whole.
Deus Ex 1 happened.
Are you sure
That's not a
this is your
solution.
choice?
I'll do it.
So be it then.
Albert Einstein said, technological progress is like an axe in the hands of a pathological criminal. Took me a while, but I finally see his point. How often have we chased the dream of progress only to see it perverted? More often than not, haven't the machines we built to improve life shattered the lives of millions? And now we want to turn that dream on ourselves to fundamentally improve who we are. Experience has shown me how dangerous that can be. How many times in the Call of Duty did I almost fall into the trap of taking shortcuts, abusing my abilities or the resources at hand? I resisted. Barely at times, because I valued human lives and considerations. Can I truly despise others who fall? Technology offers us strength. Strength enables dominance, and dominance paves the way for abuse. Darrow understood this. He knew that using technology to become something more than we are risks losing our ability to love, aspire, or make moral choices. The very things that make us human. It also risks giving some men the power to make others what they choose, regardless of the cost to human dignity. The suffering Darrow inflicted is not the end of the world. It is merely the seed for change. And change never comes without pain.
That's pretty amazing. I am not going to skip the credits because I hear that there's something that takes place after them. So I'm going to let this sit. I honestly did not think that I would complete the game in this installment. But this was amazing. This really was a fantastic game. I am absolutely going to play this multiple times. Because I want to see what could happen if I make bad decisions during conversations, I go for lethal kills, try out new weapons I didn't really give a chance in this playthrough because I was going for non-lethal. This last part of the game, it was nowhere near as hard as Deus Ex's Area 51, but it had a lot more emotion attached to it in that you had to just navigate waves of crazy people that were affected by Hugh Darrow's own sort of crazy switch, pretty much. He screwed with their eyes and just made them completely lose their minds. this last part of the game, there were no real enemies. It was just a bunch of crazy people you can knock down. It actually gave the whole thing a lot more weight. Also, that final boss, it seems like one of those generic, you know, take down the machinery piece by piece, but like the people that were attached to it, that freaking sucked. That reminded me of Baroque. I don't know if you've ever played or heard of it, but Baroque for the PS2 ported to the Wii. There's a whole thing about that game. There's this person who's kind of trapped at the bottom of this tower, and she's almost like a god, except that she is utterly incapable of feeling pain, and that kind of started driving her out of her mind. And when you go down to meet her, this is one of those games where you repeat the same dungeon over and over. When you go down and meet her for like the second or third time or whatever, she's just like repeating ad nauseum, just like, don't go crazy, don't go crazy, don't go crazy, and it's pretty disturbing actually. This kind of reminded me of that. The people attached to the machine hadn't hit that level, but they sure as hell did not want to be part of that machine anymore. I don't know if they were voluntary at first and now have gone off the deep end or what, but oh my god. And it's interesting that Deus Ex didn't show us going back to Megan, unless the after credits scene does that. But because we said, Megan, this isn't over, and then we went over to Hydron. Now, I guess the opportunity I missed was talking to Taggart or Sarah. I am very sure that if I talked to them, then they would have given me a potential different ending. Because I've seen multiple people on Facebook, like, I just beat Deus Ex, I chose Sarah. So I think I denied myself that opportunity. If my save previously is before the elevator, then I have the chance to go and get those different endings. And if I can, then I guess I'll do another installment of the alternate endings. But if not, then I probably won't, because that would literally involve me having to play the entire game over again. Or actually, no, I do have a previous installments. Actually, no, you know what? I do have a save at the beginning of Panchaya, so maybe it's possible after all. I just have to make sure to actually look where I'm going. I got a little too reliant on my radar. It said I'm in the broadcast room. I figured a little X would pop up or something, but it didn't. So I guess I'll have to go back and see what I can do about those. In the meantime, yeah, the voice acting in this game is really solid. I've heard complaints about Adam Jensen's voice being like, you know, Christian Bale's Batman, but he wasn't that raspy. And really, Bob Page. Since when does Bob Page have a voice in this game? Jesus. But, now I lost, that actually blew my mind so much, I actually lost, concentration. The hell? He must be the guy in the after credits scene, because I did not see him in the game. But, oh man, where was I? Whoa, ooh. Damn. What was I saying? Going to other endings? Well, in any case, yeah, I can always replay Panchaya because it wasn't that big of a dungeon, and there were no enemies unless you count the robots. So it actually is a real piece of cake. There was not a single guard there, unless you count the guards that didn't use their weapons because they went crazy and tried attacking you with their fists. And that's not that big of a deal. If I was more liberal with my gas grenades, I'd have taken out an entire crowd in a second's time. Ooh. But yeah, well, I should have a save at the beginning of Panchaya, so assuming that assumption is correct, double assumption, yo dog, I heard you like assumptions, but I'll see if I can, get another installment on alternate endings. I don't know how long it would be, but I think I would be really going over time if I put it on top of this installment, because this one's already a two-parter. I had actually saved in front of the Hydron elevator, and I would have called it an installment right there. I had to edit that part out, like I had to edit that audio out, which is why you see me standing in front of the elevator for a little bit. But, I meant to stop it there, but I saw it was only 34 minutes. I'm like, I'll give it a few more. And then, suddenly, final boss. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I went ahead and made it a two-parter. I haven't had a two-parter in a while, so I guess it's appropriate, especially considering a bunch of endings of my LPs are two-parters, because, I mean, you play a little bit to get to the final boss, but once you hit the final boss, you can't stop right there, so you gotta fight the whole boss. go through the credit sequence if relevant, any cinematics, so it usually ends up pushing me a bit over. Oh! And look at that, we're already on special thanks. These credits weren't bad. I think the longest credits I've ever sat through were probably, for video game, were probably, maybe Kingdom Hearts 1. Oh man, the thing was, this is when I was a little kid, so I was being called to dinner. This is like maybe early high school for me, but, maybe that was part of what made it feel long, but I was like, oh no, just wait till the end of the credits, and they just kept going. So these aren't too bad. I guess these are still going, but we're hitting executive producer and everything like that, so that's the post-special thanks stuff, so we should be okay. General manager, finance director. I seriously freaking love this game, man. And of course, after the, this whole segment, I'm gonna give my little, you know, on-camera speech of general thoughts about the game, but this final, I guess I'll say dungeon, but you know what I mean. This final area really had a lot of gravity to it. It did. I was pleasantly surprised by how intense this was when there were no real enemies to speak of. That Hugh Darrow conversation was amazing. It's kind of a shame I had to use my social enhancer, but I got the silver tongue. I made the right decision. I can only imagine what would have happened if I totally screwed that conversation up. I could give it a shot. I should have a save at the beginning of Panchaya. So I want to see what happens if I totally blow the conversation with Hugh Darrow and maybe get some sort of ending for him, maybe, where it's just like screw everyone over because of what he realized was his own selfish reasoning. What's cool about Darrow is he seemed like such a villain, but like he legitimately believed what he preached, and he does see reason. He just kind of got blinded by his own vision. Though it sounds like a paradox, that's pretty much what happened. And he did listen to reason. It's just he didn't. It's not that he didn't want to listen to reason. He didn't want to listen to opposing viewpoints because it's one of those things where, you know, when you know you're right, everyone else must be wrong. So it was like a little tricky to get to him. Normally, I wouldn't have gone for the be a dick choice on the social enhancer, but he had 2 bars for Omega, and the best way to get to an Omega is to yell at them. That was like that case with that one cop who was telling me about the guy who put the bomb under the sewers. The best way to talk to him was to yell at him so he'd snap back into reality. So, I mean, like, it sounds like being a dick would not normally be a good option, but if I went with anything else, I would probably sound condescending, or too weak for him to really consider anything I said as important. Very interesting decision on the game creator's parts. And actually, I thought he was augmented at first, but it turns out no, it's just a leg brace. When I finally got to see him from behind, I was like, oh, it's just, you know, standard leg brace and a crutch. That was also an interesting little thing about him. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing he did have that disability too, because if he didn't, I might never know whether or not he was crippled. Well, I don't want to say crippled because he really wasn't, but I would never know whether or not he had like a bad leg because his leg still worked. And then I wouldn't have been able to bring up that salient point against him. And I guess I was wrong. These credits are going for longer than I thought, but I don't want to press escape to skip it because I'm afraid that'll skip the extra scene. And the extra scene has to be Bob Page. Who the hell else would it be? I saw his voice mentioned in the credits. Unless I missed something from earlier in the game, this guy, like I heard this something links to Deus Ex 1, so we'll see right now.
You worry too much, Morgan.
It
There's
is
nothing we
Bob
can't
Page.
manage given time.
And he's talking to Everett.
She's here. I have to cut this short. Keep going through the wreckage. Maybe we'll find something we can use for the Morpheus initiative. Come
Nice.
in.
Nice.
Dr. Reed. We're so pleased you decided to join us.
You've got to be kidding me.
Where else could I go?
No regrets, my dear. As Ariadne told Theseus before he entered the Minotaur's labyrinth, always forward, never left or right.
Oh my god.
You'll be very interested in our current project. We're breaking new ground.
Yes, the nanite virus chimera is quite intriguing. I'm looking forward to seeing the hybrid project up close, Mr. Page.
You.
And so you shall. But please, call me Bob.
Oh my god. That is amazing. even if I did not notice his voice in the credits, I would have picked up that voice immediately. And it's playing the original Deus Ex theme. That is the way to do it. Well done, Deus Ex Human Revolution. That, oh my god. Suddenly, the Grey Death, it is back. Listen to that rockin' tune. I don't think it was even updated since the previous game, which I appreciate, actually. Oh, very well done. Very well done. That was freaking amazing. And now that I'm done with the game, I guess I'll throw in one last word. Boy, was this a fantastic game, and believe me, it lives up to the original. Deus Ex Human Revolution is a freaking fantastic game. And by the way, look at the size difference of this thing. Shows you how gigantic the boxes were back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. My god. I mean, it makes it cooler, but how many of these can you put on a shelf, for God's sakes? But anyway, I freaking love both games. This one really exceeded my expectations because I figured, how could you possibly live up to the original? But the developers did a fantastic job making this happen. Although there were a couple things, this game definitely had some new features to offer, like the cover system, and I normally hate the concept of cover systems because I don't like sticking to walls, but this one really worked, and you could hop on and off whenever you pleased and go from one cover to another, so it really paid off, even though I didn't use it too terribly much. I kind of used it like the third-person shooter cheat, where you just kind of use the fact that you're playing the third person to be able to see around corners where your character normally couldn't. But hey, whatever, it's all good. It definitely helps you see enemies better when you're utilizing cover, and it does make a point of having your character look around the wall, so you're not really cheating to see where enemies are, so it does make sense. And I guess two sort of complaints I would have, though, is that in the first Deus Ex, enemies had a limited ammunition. When they ran out of ammo, they either ran away or went after you melee style. And this game doesn't have melee combat. I guess if it did, I would kind of play it like I did the first Deus Ex game, where I just never fired a shot ever. Even as it was, I used close takedowns a lot in this game. They're silent and they give you more experience, so why wouldn't I? But I guess it would kind of be unfair if enemies ran out of ammo, because then they'd have no way of hitting you. Unless you count the very end of the game. I don't know what to make of that. And the other thing is the hacking system. Hacking is overall better in this game, but the thing is, there's no reason not to hack. Unless an enemy's watching you, like the police at the police station, and they're getting ready to fire at you if you hack, otherwise, if there's no one watching, there is no reason not to hack. In the first game, when you got passwords, that was a reward, because now you don't have to hack. Hacking took up time, and it was just waiting for a bar to get to the bottom of the screen. And if you had a password, you just skip all of that and do whatever the hell you want. And your hacking skill, if it wasn't up to speed, you couldn't, or if it wasn't the best it could be, you couldn't turn off turrets or robots or anything like that. Or no, robots were different. You couldn't turn off turrets. In this game, you do need a hack skill specifically for robots and turrets, yes, but the hacking system is overall more interactive, and it gives you experience whenever you do it. So, I mean, how many times did you watch me play this where I had the password and I'm like, yeah, but I'd rather have experience, and I just said screw the password. There's almost no reason to pick up pocket secretaries in this game unless you're not going for hacking ever and you just don't care about that, which is fine. But I don't know, like, hacking just gives you experience. It's only like 25 at a time at minimum, but you saw how many terminals and monitors there were in the game. It was ridiculous. And also I found it strange you could pick up and throw turrets. Like, that just seemed weird to me, but alright. But I mean, still, this game was incredible amounts of fun, and I'm not bashing it, I'm just saying hacking kind of seemed like there was no reason to go looking for passwords if you had any talent in hacking whatsoever. And speaking of which, the usernames were already given to you. In the first game, you had to find the username and the password. I mean, you'd always find them at the same time, but you still had to type them in. You had to know whose computer was what. Although, to be fair, this game was released for consoles, so I don't know if everyone's playing Deus Ex with a freaking keyboard on their TV monitors. That would be a little much. So I guess, can't really complain about that.
But this game was overall very fun. I do love that you can just play through the whole game, just like the first game, without killing anybody, except for the bosses. In the first game, you actually could run away from the bosses, but the developers of Human Revolution did comment on the fact that the plot was driven by the bosses' deaths. There's really no way around that. That's why you were forced to kill them in the fights. So, okay, fair enough. Because in the first game, you never had to fight Walton Simons, and that wouldn't really change anything because you're still doing stuff with Bob Page. So, Walton Simons is kind of like a scary guy, but he's not going to make or break the plot. So, in this game, it kind of had to happen. But it was still cool. In the boss fights, one thing I'll say about the boss fights is that I really appreciate how it's still straight up Deus Ex gameplay, but each boss fight was different. The first one was straight up just a guy shooting at you all the time, like Vulcan Raven in hard mode of Metal Gear Solid. He's just constantly firing that gun, and you had to work your way around that. The second fight, the boss was mostly stealth, and she was a lot quicker. You could fight her more easily, but it was a lot more kind of running around in open spaces because she was kind of hopping all over the place. And the third fight, you had no augmentations, and the guy was cloaking all the time, so you had to wait for him to pop up. So that had its own level of stress. And yeah, I made that boss fight look easy, but keep in mind, I was fighting with a pre-order bonus weapon. Otherwise, I guess I could have used the rocket launcher, but that fight really should have been harder than I made it out to be. I also like how you can either save Malik or have her die, kind of like the first game again, the whole does the pilot live or not. Although on this, it was more you saving her directly, as opposed to noticing whether or not something was amiss while you're refueling. That was a little, that was a cheap trick in the first game. And this game, it really made it look like she should die, but as you saw, it doesn't have to be the case, although getting around that was pretty brutal. I'm getting to the point where I'm repeating myself now, but I had a blast with this game. The plot was still just as serious and intense on an emotional and intellectual level as the first game's plot was. I keep comparing this to the first game, but the first game's freaking gold. And honestly, I would put this game right up there with it. And you might have a complaint about how the endings are kind of, you affect the ending at the last second regardless of how you play the game, but that's how it was before, too. Regarding Deus Ex 2, I only played that game for like a half hour, 40 minutes, so I can't comment extensively on it, barely at all. But the only similarity I noticed between that game and this one, considering I barely played the game at all, was that it had an upper and a lower city. In this game, it was Hengsha. In Invisible War, it was Seattle. I don't know if you actually see Upper and Lower Seattle, but you at least mention that that's where you're from, so that's definitely a connection there. About Deus Ex 2, I'm not sure if I should LP it, because I've really heard so many bad things about it, and also, just for the purpose of recording, you know how whenever you change areas in Deus Ex 1 or Human Revolution, you'd be presented with a loading screen? In Invisible War, it sort of kicks you out of the game, and it's almost like it refreshes the monitor, and then it puts you back in the game when you change areas. So I have to resync my recording and microphone every time, and it's a royal pain in the ass. I know it sounds minor, but when you consider that you have to go back and forth all sorts of places, especially when you don't know where you're going, that gets old fast. And actually, one other thing. Deus Ex 2 did this as well as Human Revolution. They had full FMV cutscenes, and I don't know how I feel about that. They were cool, but I kind of like the more natural feel where everything is gameplay, just to show you, yes, the game does look this good. Although I will mention that during conversations, people had a real tendency to kind of talk like this, and it felt kind of awkward. During the argument portions, it was a lot smoother, but just casual conversation, I know people shift when they talk, but that was getting kind of ridiculous. And you saw Tong's father, like Tong Sr., he kind of had that sort of like that weird head glitch thing. I can't replicate it because I can't cut out frames of my own body, but that was strange too. But still, I mean, everything I'm saying is just really minor nitpicks. The loading time used to be a problem, but there was a patch release 2 days after the game came out that cut the loading time down to like 10-15 seconds as opposed to like 45 seconds. Amazing improvement. I don't know, what can I say? I had a blast playing this game. I hope you had a blast watching it. Once again, thank all of you so much for watching, And, of course, as usual, special thanks to Kajek's Party, Sonic Chica, and Jack Frost for their title cards. Once again, I can't get over how people actually submit this stuff on a voluntary basis. It just blows my freaking mind. It's really flattering every time. But as for what I'm going to do next, now that I've rambled enough, I must have been going on for like, what, 55 minutes? It's getting absurd. But for what I'm going to do next, obviously I'm not going to spell it out for you right now. I'll do that in my sort of next video. But I'm finally going to get back to survival horror. There's something that I started and kind of broke off from, so I am really, really long overdue in delivering this. Until next time, everyone.